Today, we are covering what could become one of the biggest transfer stories Arsenal have ever been involved in. Reports claim Arsenal have made what is being described as a final offer for Real Madrid superstar Vinícius Jr., with some reports even suggesting negotiations are moving closer to conclusion. At the same time, another huge story is developing. Newcastle United midfielder Bruno Guimarães continues to be linked with Arsenal, but insiders say any deal will depend on two key decision makers agreeing to let him leave. Could Arsenal really sign both Brazilian stars in one transfer window? Or are these ambitious rumors running ahead of reality? In today's video, we'll examine the reports, what we know, what remains uncertain, how both players would fit into Mikel Arteta's plans, and whether these transfers are genuinely realistic. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Would you rather Arsenal sign Vinícius Jr. or Bruno Guimarães, or both? Thank you for joining us and welcome to this channel. Now, let's begin with Vinícius Jr.'s story. When Arsenal supporters hear the name Vinícius Jr., most immediately dismiss the idea. After all, we are talking about one of the biggest names in the world of football, a Champions League winner, a Brazilian international, one of Real Madrid's most exciting attacking players. Players of this caliber rarely become available. This is why recent reports have generated so much excitement among Arsenal supporters. According to the reports, Arsenal have submitted what has been described as a final proposal in an attempt to pursue the player and his representatives. It is important to distinguish between different types of transfer reports. Some reports refer to discussions with the players' representatives. Other refers to club negotiations. In this stage, different outlets have presented varying levels of certainty, and no official confirmation has been made by Arsenal or Real Madrid. That means supporters should treat claims that the transfer is nearing completion with caution until more authoritative confirmation emerges. Still, the fact that Arsenal continues to be linked with a player of Vinícius's quality shows how highly the club's ambitions are being viewed. Over the past few years, Arsenal have evolved. They are no longer merely competing for fourth place. They are competing for Premier League titles. They are competing in Champions League. They are attracting elite talent. Signing a player like Vinícius would send perhaps the biggest statement in the world of football. So, why would Arsenal want Vinícius Jr.? There are many reasons. First, explosive pace. Very few defenders can keep up with Vinícius over long distances. Second, elite dribbling. He consistently beats defenders one against one. Third, big game experience. He has played in Champions League finals, La Liga title races, international tournaments. He understands pressure. And fourth, his age. Unlike some star signings, Vinícius is still in his prime years. That means Arsenal could potentially build around him for many reasons. Imagine an attack featuring Bukayo Saka on one wing, Vinícius Jr. on the other, Martin Odegaard creating chances behind them, Kai Havertz or another striker occupying defenders. Suddenly, Arsenal possesses frightening speed on both sides. Opponents would struggle to stop attacks coming from either flank. And an obstacle. Why would Real Madrid sell? This is perhaps the biggest question. Real Madrid traditionally keep their biggest stars. However, football changes quickly. Squad planning, contract situations, financial priorities, competing for places, all these factors can influence transfer decisions. Even so, Real Madrid would likely demand an enormous transfer fee if they were ever willing to negotiate. Any move would almost certainly rank among the most expensive in Arsenal's history. That is why many analysts remain cautious despite the excitement. Now, let us look at how Vinícius fits Arteta's system. Let's imagine Arsenal complete the signing. In case they complete the signing, where exactly would he play? The obvious answer is left wing. Gabriel Martinelli has been excellent for Arsenal, but Vinícius brings another level of proven experience at the highest level. He thrives in one versus one situations. He stretches defensive lines. He forces double marking. That creates more space for teammates. Imagine defenders trying to contain Vinícius on the left, while Bukayo Saka attacks from the right. Then Odegaard arrives between the lines. Suddenly, Arsenal become almost impossible to predict. Arteta loves positional rotations. Vinícius is comfortable drifting certainly. He combines well with overlapping fullbacks. He can attack inside channels. He can counterattack at incredible speed. All these qualities fit Arsenal's attacking philosophy. So, there are still questions though. Would Arsenal wage structure accommodation such as Mark signing? Would Real Madrid agree to negotiations? Would Vinícius himself want to leave one of the world's biggest clubs? Those questions remain unanswered, which is why the story should still be viewed as a developing one rather than a complete one. So, let us, if this is your first time, please subscribe to this channel, and you can also share this live and share the channel also. So, as we said in the first part, where we looked at, if this is you have just joined us, we looked at why Arsenal are reportedly pushing to signing Vinícius Jr. and how we could transform Mikel Arteta's attack. Now, let us turn our attention to another Brazilian star who has been heavily linked with the Gunners. Newcastle United's midfielder Bruno Guimarães. Reports suggest Arsenal admire Bruno, but any transfer would depend on key decisions. Makers at Newcastle's agreeing to let him leave until there is official confirmation from their clubs. This remains speculation rather than a completed deal. So why Bruno such an attractive target? When Bruno arrived in the Premier League, many wondered whether he would adapt quickly. He answered those questions almost immediately. Since joining Newcastle, he has established himself as one of the league's most complete defenders. He is comfortable receiving the ball under pressure. He can dictate the tempo of a match. He wins tackles, he makes interceptions, and he contributes goals and assists when the opportunity arises. They are exactly the qualities Arsenal look for a modern midfielder. Arteta wants a player who are technically gifted, tactically intelligent, and composed in possessions. Bruno checks all those boxes. So, why the deal is difficult? If Arsenal admire Bruno so much, why hasn't a deal already happened? The answer is simple. Newcastle don't want to lose one of their most influential players. Bruno is more than just a midfielder. He's a leader. He's one of the first names on the team's sheet. Replacing a player of his quality would be incredibly difficult. That is why reports indicate that any move would require approval from Newcastle's leadership. Even if Arsenal submit a substantial offer, Newcastle would still have to decide whether selling makes supporting and financial sense. For Arsenal, this means patience. Negotiations in deals of this size are rarely straightforward. Now, how Bruno fits in Arsenal's system. Imagine if Arsenal acquires this midfielder. Picture him alongside Martin Odegaard and Declan Rice. That could give Arsenal one of the strongest midfielders in Europe. Declan Rice provides defensive stability. Bruno controls possession and progresses the ball. Odegaard creates chances and links midfield with attack. Each player completes the other. Instead of relying on one midfielder to do everything, Arsenal would have specialists working together. The balance is exactly what successful teams strive for. Could Arsenal sign both? That is a tough one. This is a question, a tough one, every Arsenal fan is asking. Could the club really bring both Vinícius Jr. and Bruno Guimarães in the same transfer window? Financially, it would be a massive undertaking. Both players would likely command very high transfer fees and significant wages. Arsenal would also need to consider financial fair play regulations and overall balance of the squad. That doesn't make it impossible, but it does make it extremely challenging. Any such moves would likely depend on careful budgeting, potential players' sales, and successful negotiations. So, if this is your first time, I call upon you once again to subscribe to this channel and share this live. So if you have just joined us, so far we have discussed why Arsenal are interested in Vinícius Jr. and Bruno Guimarães and the challenges involved in completing deals of this magnitude. Now, let's answer the biggest questions. How would Arsenal actually line up if both players arrived? Could this be the squad that finally wins the Premier League? Could it also be strong enough to challenge for the UEFA Champions League? Let's break it down. Arsenal's strongest first 11. Let's start with the goalkeeper. David Raya remains Arsenal's number one. His ability to play from the back is crucial, a part of Mikel Arteta's philosophy. Across the back four, Arsenal would still have one of the strongest defensive units in England. At right back, Ben White offers defensive solidity and supports attacks with intelligent overlapping runs. At centre back, William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes continue to form one of Europe's best defensive partnerships. At left back, Miles Lewis-Skelly or another first choice open option depending on Arteta's selection provides energy and technical quality. This defense has already shown it can compete with the very best. The real transformation would come for further forward. The midfield evolution: if Bruno Guimarães joins Arsenal, the midfield could become the team's greatest strength. Imagine this combination. Declan Rice protects the defense. Bruno Guimarães dictates possession. Martin Odegaard unlocks opposition and defenses. Each player would have a clearly defined role. Rice wins the ball, Bruno progresses it, Odegaard creates chances. The balance could make Arsenal much more difficult to press. Instead of relying on one player to carry the midfield, responsibilities would be shared against teams that defend deep. Bruno's passing range could be invaluable. Against teams that press aggressively, his composure under pressure would help Arsenal play through the lines. Now, the dream attack. The front three. On the right, Bukayo Saka. On one of Arsenal's most consistent performers. On the left, Vinícius Jr., a player known for his pace, dribbling, and ability to beat defenders one-on-one through the midfield. Kai Havertz or another striker, if Arsenal strengthen that, like Victor Gyökeres, would benefit from the services provided by both wingers. Imagine defenders trying to contain Vinícius on one side while Saka attacks from the other. Double mark one player and the other has more space. Stay narrow and Arsenal can exploit the wings. Push wide and Odegaard finds gaps in the middle. This is why elite attacking trios are so difficult to defend. So, could Arsenal finance these deals? Another tough question right there. Every transfer window comes down to one question: how do you pay for it? Signing players like Vinícius Jr. and Bruno Guimarães could almost certainly require a huge financial commitment. That could mean selling fringe players, restructuring the wage bill, prioritizing one mark signing over several smaller ones, spreading transfer payments over multiple years, if agreed between the clubs. Arsenal have shown in recent seasons that they are willing to invest heavily, but they have also been disciplined. The club need to balance ambition with long-term financial stability. So, still calling upon you to subscribe if this is your first time here, and don't forget to share this live. Subscribe to this channel. So, if you have just joined us, we've covered the tactical possibility, the financial implications, and how Vinícius Jr. and Bruno Guimarães could fit the Mikel Arteta into Mikel Arteta's squad. Now, it's time to answer the biggest question: how realistic are these transfers? A separate excitement from evidence. Where things stand. Starting with Vinícius Jr., there is no doubt Arsenal admire elite attacking players, and Vinícius is among the best in the world football. Recent reports have suggested Arsenal have made a significant approach and that negotiations are progressing. However, neither Arsenal nor Real Madrid has officially confirmed the transfer in close to completion. That distinction is important. During every transfer window, stories often move through several stages: initial interest, contact with the representatives, preliminary discussions, formal offers, club negotiations, agreement, medical, and official announcement. A player can be linked for weeks or even months without a transfer being completed. So while the rumors have generated excitement, Arsenal fans should wait for confirmation from reliable sources before assuming the move is done. And for Bruno Guimarães, is it more likely? Bruno Guimarães presents different situations. Unlike Vinícius Jr., he has consistently performed at high level for Newcastle United. From Arsenal's perspective, that reduces the uncertainty that often comes with overseas transfers. However, Newcastle view Bruno as one of their cornerstone players. Unless the club decides to sell or receive an offer that they simply cannot refuse, any deal would remain difficult. That is why reports suggesting that key decision makers must approve any sale makes sense. For Arsenal, the challenge is not only convincing Bruno, but also convincing Newcastle that selling is their best interest. Why should Arsenal prioritize? If Arsenal could sign only one of these players, who should it be? There are arguments for both. Vinícius Jr., elite one-on-one ability, proven performer on the biggest stages, could transform Arsenal's attack. Bruno Guimarães, Premier League experience, midfield control, leadership, tactical flexibility. Ultimately, the decision would depend on Arteta's priorities. If Arsenal believes they need another world-class attacking threat, Vinícius Jr. would be the obvious choice. If strengthening the midfield is priority, Bruno could be the better fit. Either signing would represent major statement of intent. As things stand, in our final verdict, both stories remain transfer rumors rather than completed deals. Arsenal have been linked to top-class players because of club has established itself as one of Europe's strongest teams. That naturally attracts speculations. Until official announcements are made, supporters should stay excited but also patient. The transfer window often produces surprises and negotiations can change quickly. If either Vinícius Jr. or Bruno Guimarães were to arrive at the Emirates, it would be one of the biggest moments of Arteta's era. But for now, we'll continue to follow every credible updates as the story develops. That is all for today, for now's Arsenal transfer special. Today, do you think Arsenal would go all out for Vinícius Jr.? Would Bruno Guimarães be the perfect addition to the midfield? Or do you think Arsenal should focus on other targets? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into this, like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you never miss the latest Arsenal news and transfer updates. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.